righty, I believe, first of all, welcome to Board Game Breakfast. I'm Tom Vasel. I believe today is the beginning of the last week of nice driving for us here in Florida, because a few schools started today, but a lot more start next week, and then the week after that, public school starts, and whoo-hoo-hoo. But also, let's see, I was just telling my wife I'm going to be gone for almost a month soon. Don't worry, the channel's not going to shut down. We're going to have plenty of stuff, but the Dice Tower Retreat, sponsored by Restoration Games, is happening in September, as well as Gen Con. Now, we're going to be at Gen Con, so if you're coming to Gen Con, we're doing a live show there on Friday at 2 o'clock. Go sign up for it, okay? It helps us out if Gen Con knows that people want to see our show. We try to make a ticket as inexpensive as possible. Come on out. Come see the Dice Tower. We're going to do a top 10 list live with the Dice Tower crew in Bonacore. We're going to have a good time there, and you never know what else might happen. So if you're coming to Gen Con, come on out to that. Also, we'll have a booth at Gen Con, so if you want to say hi to us, swing by. We'll have promos and stuff. So it's going to be a good time overall. I hope you all enjoyed that. Also, before I forget, we got a contest going on right here, right now from Pandasaurus. And this is for the loop, which you can see behind me. There we go. We got 3 copies of this for people in the USA, Canada, or Australia. All you have to do to enter this contest is to email us at contest@dicetower.com. Subject line, put the word duplicate. Why is it called duplicate? Because I think you can duplicate stuff in this game in which you're going through loops. And the question is, how many versions of Dr. Foe are shown on the cover of Loop? Don't look! Cheaters! Go to BGG and find out yourself. All right, anyway, that's how, if you do that, you have a chance to win. Remember, you can check out who's won previous contests on the Dice Tower. We'll also notify you if you win at dicetower.com/contests. So, woof, lots of things. Dice Tower West registration, we talked about that last week, is going live in a few weeks, September 1st. So keep that in mind. It's going to be fantastic. Man, I just sent out an update about the Kickstarter. We're still working on that. Getting the stuff for that. Shipping prices have gone through the roof and slowed down a bit, but hopefully we'll get that out before the end of the year. That is our goal, to get it out as soon as possible. And I got a live Q&A coming up later today, so yeah, lots of things. Lots of big reviews have been going up recently too, huh? Well, let's not ramble here. Let's get started with some contributors, and we'll be back.
Hi, Stella.
And Tarrant here from Maple University and the Dice Tower. Today we're going to have a look at Escape Room the Game Puzzle Adventures. This is the next in what I think is an underrated series, the Escape Room the Game series.
I don't know if this is underrated. Maybe we haven't seen it mentioned a lot of the time. Hopefully it's not underrated, but I feel like I haven't seen it a lot in social media. Anyways, this is one of those exit unlock type of thing. If you know, we've talked about this before, and we love escape room type of game. The original game comes with a decoder, which can be played for the expansion, which is different cases, or you can have the app as well otherwise.
Yes.
This one is slightly different because on top of what you would normally need to solve, it's actually a puzzle pieces that you have to put together.
Jigsaw puzzle.
Jigsaw puzzle. So puzzle and puzzle. Now, this might be, you know, if you like puzzle, you probably like it, but if not, it might actually feel like it hinders a little bit. Like you have to, every time you have to, or maybe almost every time or every second time, I'm not gonna say too much spoiler, that you're gonna have to do puzzle. But it does say here that you do need to do puzzles. If somebody is impatient a bit like Terrence wanna, is that right? You prefer kind of like straight away puzzle solving?
I don't want to spend 20 minutes solving a jigsaw puzzle to then waltz through a 5-minute escape room puzzle, because it's the escape room puzzles that I enjoy.
Okay, so I still enjoy putting the puzzle pieces together. I find that's quite soothing, but it does probably require more time to finish the whole thing. Yeah, so that's it. Have you played it? Let us know as well. And again, we are Maple University on YouTube and also on the Dice Tower. See you next time.
Hello everyone, it's Clara. How you doing? I'm talking about a board game which has app integration in it this time, so that sounds a little bit cheaty, but don't worry. And I will say that this game has been so hard to get that the search for Planet X has been really difficult. So that's the game, the search for Planet X. It's a puzzle, logical deduction game, and I love it. It's great. I only got it recently and I've played it quite a lot. In it, you and your friends are all controlling observatories and you can observe the night sky. Depending on what time of day it is, you look at different segments and you're trying to figure out what's in each segment. Maybe there's a comet, maybe there's an asteroid. The main aim of the goal is of the game is to figure out where Planet X is, which is invisible. But not only that, you've got to know what's on either side of it, which I also kind of like as well. I love the search for Planet X and I can see it's going to get a lot of plays. Alchemist is going to remain in my top 10 list as it was on my recent video, but this is going to be so much easier to get to the table, so much quicker, so much easier to teach. So it's going to fill a really fantastic gap for me. And what I love about it is the app integration. The app integration means that the result is different every time, you know, where Planet X is. But it also means it's got this thing where you can set different difficulties for different players. So if you're an experienced player, you can make it harder, and a new player make it easier. Brilliant. Now, the question is, for this segment, if this was a purely digital game, would I play it? Now, I think if it came out purely as a digital game first, it probably wouldn't really necessarily stand out from the crowd, which is weird because I love this game. If a digital version came out now, would I play it? And to be honest, I like moving the night sky around. I like writing down the information. I like looking what everybody else has got. I don't think I want a purely digital version of this game because I don't want that automation. So for me, I'm quite happy with this being an app integrated board game, but I don't just want an app version. And until next time, take care and bye.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game that came out 30 years ago, so we're going to take a look at Outpost. Coming out in 1991, although Stronghold Games, and that's the version that I played of it, republished it, and I reviewed that about 10 years ago. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the 20th anniversary edition that Stronghold did. Now, I reviewed this game. I gave it a 5 out of 10. Looking back at it, still a 5 out of 10, and there's a few reasons. First of all, the box itself, it says 2 to 9. And when I did the review, I said 9 was a ridiculous player count. And some people came in and said, no, it's actually really good. You know, at a con, you can play a 3-hour game. I'm sorry, I can't do that. It's just too many people, first of all. Weird player counts. The problem with this game is that it's a cool idea. Originally printed by Tim Jim Games, designed by James Clavati and Timothy Moore. This game is an engine builder. And in so you are building, it's like a lunar outpost type thing, and you're building these things that give you money cards, and you draw from a pile of random money cards, but each pile of money cards gets progressively better. So if you like math, you're going to love parts of this game because you're just adding and adding and like, oh, I add all these together, how much money? And then there's a lot of auctioning in the game. The problem with this game for me was, one, it's way too long for what it is. But two, the bigger problem, this has one of the most pronounced rich get richer and poor get poorer games I've ever played. You pull out ahead of everybody else, it's really hard for someone to come back and take that from you. And if you fall behind, it's really hard to catch back up because someone has more money than you. So that plus the math is going to turn off a lot of people. In fact, you don't see a lot of people talking about or playing this game today. You haven't seen another reprint of Outpost. It did have some games that came out from it. The Scepter of Zavendor was kind of a follow-up, although that one also is not in print today. And then Phoenicia was kind of a follow-up to this. That one also is not in print today, but Phoenicia was, as far as I can tell from what Tom Lemon said, kind of the unofficial lead-in to Race for the Galaxy. So there's that. Yeah, so there's a lot of history. A lot of people like Outpost. I'm hesitant, even now to say that I dislike it because a bunch of people will tell me how wrong I am on this one. But this is a game of its time. It's 30 years ago. It had some neat aspects. We got to give it credit that this is a game that affected, and a lot of other games got ideas from it. But is it a game I'd recommend people to play today? Not particularly. Maybe it's a filler game for people who like 18xx style games. But for me, there's a lot of cool things. I like getting cards and then using those cards to bid for other cards. That's a cool concept. But I just couldn't get over how long the game is. And then if you fall behind, you can't catch up, which is basically virtual player elimination. It's just not a game that's cool today. So that's my review from a game 30 years ago, Outpost.
Brandy and Ellen, we game together.
Can we play now? Hi guys, I am Randy.
And I am Ellen, and we are We Game Together.
This is our new segment that we're calling Gaming Related, just basically talking about anything that has to do with games or things like it.
Because we felt like it.
Last week we talked about game mats and how we think it's just so important, I think, to have a mat. I mean, honestly, if you're going to have any accessory, a game mat is got to be super up there.
Especially if you're into, like, card-heavy games.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you'll be able to kind of get the card off the table so much easier than like a hard surface, and for so many other reasons.
Right, but today we're talking about the actual game table,
Yes.
or tops of tables and things like that.
Tops of tables.
There are so many options nowadays for board game tables, which is great.
Yeah,
right,
it
because
is.
it really fits any sort of budget. I mean, you've got some that, you know, we have a game topper, and this goes on just like a regular table of any
Yes.
kind, folding table. They even have legs that you can purchase for it as well. And then you get up to some like the Wormwood stuff and BoardGameTables.com stuff, and you could spend several thousand, $8,000 plus
Easily.
on tables. Super expensive at one point in time. The game topper one, from what I could tell, is one of the cheapest options. It's definitely not the cheapest. But for around $1,000, maybe a little bit less, depending on what size and what finishes you get, you can get a fantastic solution that works for any surface, really.
Yeah, and actually, part of the game table too, just our specific one that we have, has these little slots on the side, which I've been finding I use a ton. It's for cards you can put out in front of you. If it's tiles, it's just very convenient, and I'm finding that I use it a lot. So that was kind of a neat little
And then
thing.
this one has where you can kind of get accessories to put your cups and things on the side. Some of them have them in the
Little side
rails,
tables,
which
yeah.
is just the best part of the industry with board game tables is that there's just every option, whatever you could possibly look for.
So cool.
But honestly, as long as you get like a mat,
Yeah.
that's like the important thing to
I
us,
think so,
you know, because we did a mat only for years and years and years, and it made
fine.
everything better already.
Yeah.
But the tables, extra little rails and things, it just gives a little bit more
You
sophistication.
can be like Randy and put some flashy lights in there.
And we put some lights in this one too,
Put a-
so.
Little hole in the table to anchor it through.
Well, yeah, it's,
But it looks good, baby. You did a good job.
Thanks, Ellen.
Looks great.
Anyway, guys, if you have any questions or any other resources that you'd like to know about game tables, we're happy to share. So
Yeah.
hit us up in the comments.
Hi everybody,
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
from Ryan Bethany Board Game Reviews.
Today we're talking about Biblios, Quill, and Parchment. This is the sequel roll and write version of Biblios. In this game you are rolling just a ton of dice. There's like 4 or 5 different kinds of dice in this game. 5 dice. And they're all used for a different purpose, which is super unique, and I loved it.
I really loved the dice in this game, actually. Like, they looked really cool, and they felt really light. Like, I like it when the dice feel super heavy, and this was fun because they felt super light. So I guess I just like different feelings of dice. But it was fun because it just, like, it reminded me of the paper, like Quill and Parchment. Like, the dice reminded me of paper, and I just thought thematically that fit really well.
There is an A side to these boards, and then there's a B side as well. A lot of games have that, but these felt very different and in a good way.
Yeah.
2 different experiences. You kind of got more game out of your game. It felt like the A side was kind of the training board. It was still a full game in and of itself, but the B side was where it really, for us at least, ramped up and gave you more options and more things to explore.
This is definitely a shorter game, but I like it when shorter games are games I want to play back to back, and this definitely has that for me. So it's a game that when I play it, I want to play it, 3 or 4 or 20 times in a row. I won't do it that much.
20 times?
I won't do that to you.
20 times?
I won't do that to you.
I'll do 3 or 4.
Or 5.
Well, they're like 10, 15 minutes apiece, especially in the 2-player version. So very quick.
Well, everybody, if you want to hear more from us, you can find us on YouTube or Facebook. We are Ryan and Bethany at Board Game Reviews. This is Ryan. I'm Bethany. Hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
All right. So what's coming out this week? Well, we're not going to slow down with these big reviews. There's so many to go through. I got 2 very big games I'm reviewing this week. The Chronicles of Drunagor, and The Great Wall from Awakened Realms. So both of those are big, but that's not all I'm taking a look at this week. I'm taking a look at a classic game, Clue, the Great Museum Caper. I'm doing a 6 negative review mashup. I'm taking a look at, I'm mashing up 3 roll and writes together. Lawyer Up expansion, 60-second city, but that's not me. If you haven't noticed, over the past week, and we're continuing to do it this week, each day we're putting up one video from the Summer Spectacular. We pulled them out and put them up by themselves, so in case you missed them the first time around, top 10. The Dice Tower podcast goes up tomorrow. We talk about our top 10. What did we talk about? Me and Eric, we just went through it. We had some city building games. That's what it was. Which I found out online. Some people were confused because I just said city games, and some folks didn't know if I meant city building or games based on the name of a city. I will have to do that, games based on the name of city, at some point. And on Thursday this week, we got our top 10 games that have that one annoying rule. I like the game except for that one thing. So me, Z, and Mike will be handling that. And we got all kinds of live things coming up. We got 2 live plays. Tomorrow, we'll be playing Amass. And then on Friday, we'll be playing Astro Miners. So this is going to be fun. I hope you enjoy those with contests and crowd surfing. This is a full week of stuff, folks. We hope you stick around for it. Let's keep moving.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, guys. Today we are continuing our look at games that are small and portable that you can pack in your bag and take on your holidays. Today it's the turn of 6 Nimmt.
6 Nimmt, yeah.
Nimmt.
This is also known as Category 5, so you might notice that.
This is a 2 to 10 player game. As you can see, it's very small. Fits in the palm of your hand, just about. And it's a great little card game.
Yeah, so this is a Wolfgang Kramer game, as Bear says, small game, so ideal for our little series about what you can take on holiday. Simple game, basically there's 104 cards in the deck, each player is dealt 10 cards, and then there are 4 cards laid out from the top of the remaining deck that are your starter cards, and then you each take it in turn to select a card from your hand, which you're going to lay down against one of these 4 rows. And
sounds simple.
It does sound simple. You'll reveal the card at the same time, and whoever's got the lowest lays their card sort of adjacent to the card that's next down from there, as if you like, number wise. And you just build up, so you basically increase the number along. And whoever is the last person to place a card, so the row goes 1 to 6. So when there's 5 cards, you don't want to be the person putting the 6th card down, because that will claim all the cards that are 1 to 5 into your hand, not into your hand, but into your scoring pile. And the object of the game entirely is to not score any points. So you don't want any of those cards. And it's a really tricksy game, great fun.
It is, yeah. A little party game as well. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, we use it as a party game. We play as a 2-player between us, but we play as family party game.
Up to 10.
Awesome. And obviously, it fits in your backpack, so take it on holiday with you.
Happy holes.
Yeah, so this is a good one. Wolfgang Kramer, thanks a lot. 6 Nimmt. Grrr.
All right. Well, first of all, cool. I had something to say about the game they were just showing. What was the game they were just showing? 6 Nimmt. Yes, great little card game. And there's a lot of English names to that. Slide 5, 5 Alive. There's one with hurricanes, which we won't play here in Florida. It's too close to home. All right, addiction. I want to be really clear up front here that I'm not speaking from any scientific or psychological viewpoint. I am not an expert in either one of those. I just want to talk about us talking about it in a sense. And this came to mind from last week. We played Magic the Gathering. So I stopped playing collectible card games on a serious basis out of college. When I was in college, I played Overpower, I played Battletech collectible card game, Star Wars collectible card game, and the tiniest bit of Magic, but not much. But with the other 3, Overpower, Battletech, and Star Wars, I bought a lot of stuff. I bought a lot of stuff on a very limited budget. I would have barely enough money to do anything each week, and the little bit of spending money I had almost always went to more collectible card packs. And I still remember that People can laugh and mock all you want, but I remember opening the pack and just that smell of the new cards and the feeling of excitement looking at what those cards were was just top notch. Now, it wasn't to the point ever for me where I was spending money that I should have spent on like necessities. I wasn't spending my college tuition on cards, but I definitely loved doing it, and I could see it leading to that way. And I didn't stop because of that. It wasn't some noble cause that I stopped. Instead, I started out of college. I started collecting Warhammer 40K, and that became my obsession. Now, with Warhammer 40K, I did not need to collect everything, but you still could. Now, I don't know if you've seen Games Workshop prices, but they're slightly higher than the cost of an apartment in Manhattan. And when you buy these things and you try to buy the whole army and they consistently produce new things and extra stuff, that can be an addiction of itself. But hey, we're board gamers, and we look down on collectible card games. In fact, when the collectible card games comes out, we're all like, ho, 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 we're better than those people. So I thought about this last week as I got the Lord of the Rings Magic the Gathering. And so I bought it, and I bought a set for us. But then after I opened the starter packs, I'm like, I want to see more of this. So I opened it up, so I had to buy another box of it. And I could see getting caught up in Magic again, because there is something thrilling about opening that. And there's all these psychological things that go into that, the thrill of doing something. I realized that an addiction to board games or collectible card games is not nearly as serious as an addiction to drugs or addiction to whatever substance it might be, an addiction to food, whatever. There's a lot of addictions out there. But it is a thing, and I think sometimes we kind of go, an addiction from board games because we can find one that's worse. If I'm addicted to CCGs, I'm like, hey, it's not drugs. If I'm addicted to board games, I go, it's not CCGs. And I do think Kickstarter is a bit of an addiction. I think you can go to Kickstarter and constantly see the new thing, this FOMO, and then the companies are trying to get you to buy their things, so they have all these cool things. You're like, gotta get it all, gotta get it all, gotta get it all. Now, I want to be really clear here. I'm not blaming companies. A lot of times companies get blamed for this by being enablers and stuff. They're trying to make money. They're trying to offer a product, and they're going to try to offer cool things to get you into it. Now, some are more devious than others. Some definitely feed into the FOMO of people, that fear of missing out. Get it now or never get it. But part of, at the end of the day, the responsibility is my own. In fact, you could blame the Dice Tower, and I've definitely seen people do that, not just us, but media presenters in general, that we're out there always talking about new stuff, which we have to do. We can't just talk about old stuff. Nobody would watch the channel. That's a proven fact. Even now, I do old school reviews, and some people really enjoy them. That's fantastic. But they don't get watched nearly as much as a review of Ankh or the 3rd edition of Descent. That's the way things are. And also, we like talking about new stuff. We like getting new things here at the studio. So how do you deal with this? Hopefully here, as a producer of content, hopefully we're not telling you to buy everything. I think that's irresponsible. If I told you everything is good and you must have it all, that's kind of irresponsible because I'm trying to feed you more. So I try to shy away from that. But at the same time, if I'm really excited about games, if I think they're great, we're going to tell you that too. I don't think everybody should have everything. Even our top 10 games everyone should have, we have the caveat in there that we're just saying that. It's not really true. You don't need everything. And don't ever feel bad. Right now, there's a big deal. Everyone posts pictures of their collection. I'm going through the Dice Tower collection right now, shelf by shelf, and that looks amazing, right? But you don't need that Dice Tower collection. That's for a library in general. Your own personal collection, it's better to have a curated set of games that you really like. When you start collecting games that you don't really like that much, but they're part of a set, and it bothers you not to have them all, maybe you're a little bit too addicted to board games. When you collect a game that you're not a big fan of, but because it's a highly regarded game and maybe you should have on your shelf to provide some credibility, then maybe you're addicted a little bit. If you buy a game that you don't like for any reason to put on your shelf, that's problematic. If you get games you're not going to play, that's problematic. But where that lies, there I hesitate to say more. I'm not going to say well, you shouldn't buy more than 100 games, because maybe you can afford thousands of games, but maybe you can only afford 5. So it's up to you and your budget and everything beyond that. But I think we have to be very cautious to not look down on other people, especially collectible card games, when board games is just about as bad. I've seen a lot of people that are like, I used to play collectible card games and I spent thousands a year. No longer do I do that. Now I spend thousands on Kickstarter. Okay, what's changed? Collectible card games took up less space, and you probably knew more about the game. Now, there does come a problem with this when you buy everything. You get lots of stuff you'll never use. I mean, collectible card games are infamous. After you buy the first 20 packs, once you get to pack 21 or so, you start looking at every card except for the last one, right? It's the rare card is the only one that matters. And then also, a Kickstarter comes in, and I have all this extra junk, and I push all this stuff away, and this is what I'm going to play with. It's just something to think about. Again, I want to be very clear. I'm not trying to be preachy here in any sort of way or judgy. I mean, I definitely have a collect them all thing myself, and it's something that I work on. You know, I went to the store, Barnes & Noble's, just this weekend, and I looked around, and I didn't need any of the games. But I thought about buying one anyway. I didn't, but I thought about it, and I was like, what? Do I need a game? Is it for the Dice Tower library? Am I just buying it to buy something? And, you know, board gaming is a more inexpensive hobby than many others. I think about this every day when I drive down the road here in Florida and see people go by with boats. And I'm thinking, board games is much cheaper than that. But that's a hobby they love and enjoy. Board gaming is a hobby I love and enjoy. I just got to make sure that it stays a hobby and not consumes your life. That's what I'm thinking this week.
Happy breakfast, everyone. Today I'm here to talk to you about 7 Bridges. The way the game works is, like any roll and write, the dice are rolled by the active player. However, the dice are then drafted, with you instantly drawing what you've taken onto your rather nice looking map sheet. 7 Bridges is not only the name, it's also one of the 7 objectives, is to cross all of those bridges in your network. There's other things such as doing a loop around the city. There's stuff like seeing buildings, trees, visiting landmarks and stuff like that. And actually, visiting landmarks also triggers sort of bonus actions such as instantly drawing other things on your sheet. Now, it's a fun game, and potentially I shouldn't have been surprised, but the 7 bridges are insanely useful for point scoring. The twist on this one is there's 7 scoring objectives, and for each bridge you cross, you score one of them. Now, as they are useful to score in some of the objectives, they also then score for how many bridges you've crossed, and then how many of the objectives you can score for. 7 bridges. The bridges are really, really important. I think maybe too important. It's a fun game, but I feel like if that sort of what was scored wasn't determined by the number of bridges you'd crossed, you'd still want to cross the bridges for the other things, and you'd sort of be able to do more routes to victory. There'd be more options. I just wish that last little bit, that twist, which I like, wasn't there. Anyway, that's 7 Bridges, and I'm Oliver East, signing out.
No, it didn't run out. It was on. Well, all right. Let's try this again. Hey, folks. Thanks, Oliver. All right. Anywho, today I'm taking a look at something that's board game adjacent, and that is the Adventures Essentials Gelatinous Soap. So this here is a box of soap. Here, I haven't opened this one up yet. This one here is, what's the flavor? Or not the flavor, this is black currant. All right. So this is a chunk of soap here that is supposed to look like a gelatinous cube. This one's blue. I wonder if any of these are green, because the one I've used 2 of them so far. And let me look at this one here. I smelled them all. This one is raspberry slush. That sounded pretty good, actually. And then the last one here, I already opened this one. This one here is pomegranate. All right, so none of these are green, but they're gelatinous cubes. And inside them is a full set of dice. And the dice themselves, not bad dice. They're like Chessex good quality dice. They're terrible. These things are terrible. So I've been using this as a bar of soap for a week or so. And let me explain a couple things. First of all, this is a terrible shape for soap. Yes, the edges rub off eventually, but let's say when they do rub off, there's still dice throughout the whole thing. Now, I bought these before. They have a die in the middle. That's kind of cute. You get there, the die comes out. These have dice through it, so I'm rubbing the soap on my arm, and I'm like, there's a 4-sided die. Who thought this idea up? So I'm trying to take the dice out, and I have the dice here that came out of the soap, and then they fall on the ground, and then you're like in a bathtub of terror. So that's problematic, the whole shape and everything. And you say, well, it's not made for that. It's made for you just to have a cute gift. That's stupid. I've never understood, and forgive me, folks who are watching, when I go to someone's house and I go to your bathroom and there's a fancy looking soap there in the sink that's shaped like a bird. And I don't know if I'm allowed to use that soap or not. But if I'm not allowed to use it, why is it soap? I mean, then just put a fancy bird statue there. I'm confused. I think I'm supposed to use it, but I don't know. If you give me fancy soap, I'll be like, cool, and then I'm going to use it. I don't know if that makes me a cretin or not, but it's like those people make those fancy chocolate things, and then no one eats it. It's like work of art. Give me a fork. I'll show you a work of art. Anyhow, these are terrible smelling. They smell like super generic soap, to the point where last week at one point I was like, I stink, and I know I took a shower today, and I blame the soap. And you say, Tom, what did you expect from gelatinous cube soap? You're right. And if you go back to the Kickstarter this was part of, you'll note that I was the only person to say something positive about it. And Z's like, see, I was correct. He points out to me consistently. All right. Well, I've learned my lesson. No, I haven't. If there's more gelatinous soap cube, I'll get it because I'm addicted to. No, wait, what? Oh, I'm getting kind of meta here. Anyway, it's an okay thing. It's a funny gift, but as a bar of soap, it is terrible. I don't recommend them at all. Adventures, Essentials, Gelatinous soap. Sorry, I love gelatinous cubes, but not these.
Hello, my name's Jonathan from Board Game Opinions, and in this segment I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to teach a board game. And this week's tip is know your students. There is a mantra in teaching which is that to be a good teacher you first have to be a good student. Now that doesn't mean that you should have been well behaved when you were at school. That means that the first priority when you teach is not the explanation, it's knowing your students. It's learning where are they at, what do they know already. Do they know enough to be able to jump in at this higher level? Do you need to go over the basics, or would that be patronising to them? You need to know about your students first in order to pitch your explanation at the right level. You're going to be playing, I suspect, with a wide variety of different people in different gaming situations you find yourselves, and some people are going to want a much more detailed explanation than others. If they are an experienced gamer, they are quite happy to sit through a long, lengthy rules explanation, half an hour or more, as long as it's clear and covers all the rules. Woe betide you if you miss out one of the rules and try and introduce it later. I should probably mention at this point that there is another way of scoring points. If you go to this location here, that's actually a really good way of getting points.
What? You can't do that. That changes my whole strategy.
On the other hand, if they are new to gaming, if you try and bore them with a half-hour explanation, they won't take in half the rules, and you'll have to repeat them anyway when you're playing the game. You need to get them going. Give them enough to get into the game, to be able to make some decisions, to take some turns, and you can gradually add more rules later as you go.
Oh, now one other rule I should probably mention. It doesn't happen very often, but just in case, if the tiles run out, then you have to shuffle the discard pile. But if the discard pile is empty, are you paying attention?
Alright, hopefully that gives you some more tips for teaching a board game well. I'll see you next week for more of the same. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Hello, my name's Dan. This is Cora, and we're here to tell you all about the games we've been playing over the last, well, yesterday. Yesterday we played these games, and they're both games from Days of Wonder. So we'll start off with the big one first of all. Oh, boom.
Massive.
What's this called, Cora?
Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride Europe, and it's the Deluxe edition. So it's the super posh edition. This is a kind of a classic game. Yeah. One of the.
We play it a lot in families.
We do play it a lot in the family. What do you think about it?
I like where it's more fun with like 3 players. So it's all just like you're getting tangled in between when you're setting your trains out to go from the point A to point B.
Yeah. I like the fact that I won both. I beat both you and your mum at this game yesterday, which was fantastic. And this Deluxe edition is really nice, isn't it? With all the.
And when we played yesterday, I was just over one side, like getting all my tickets done. Then Dad and Mum were just in the middle, like intertriangling, trying to go on the same paths and everything.
Yeah. You were over in Eastern Europe while we were battling out in West Europe. Yeah. So this is a great game. It's a classic for a reason. The Deluxe edition is lovely. In fact, I think that's all. Just one Deluxe edition is all you need, really. You don't need thousands of expansions, in my opinion.
I like how all the different trains, they're supposed to be like delivering cars or delivering oil or like posts. And I like all the like details on it.
Yeah, the little plastic cars, they're awesome.
Yeah.
So that was the first game from Days of Wonder that we played yesterday. And the second one we played is this one. The River, which is slightly less well known and slightly less well regarded. But we really enjoyed it, didn't we?
Yeah. And I won.
I can't remember that.
I won.
I can't remember that bit.
Won.
No, I remember winning Ticket to Ride. I don't remember you winning anything in the game. So this is a worker placement game. It's a very simple worker placement game, which is a great introduction for Cora. And you really liked it, didn't you?
I did, and I won.
Pretty sure you didn't win. I'm pretty sure.
Who won then?
I can't remember who won this one, but I definitely won. Definitely won Ticket to Ride. So there you go. So that's the River.
And it's sort of like you have to get points by building houses in some other ways. It's a fun game. Like I was focusing on building houses for the points, but Dad was doing it a different way.
Yeah.
And it was all just easier to.
Yeah, and we've completely forgotten who won that game. So
it was me.
So as I say, the River and Ticket to Ride Europe. Both really good games. Bye-bye.
Hey, welcome back. It's good to see that Dan and Cora are gracing us with their presence after being, top-tier millionaire game designers at this point in time. Hey, thank you to not just to them, but to all the contributors for doing a great job as always. Thanks to Mike for running this and for everyone who helps put this show together. Thank you all for watching. Z will be here in 22 minutes doing an app on what's happening at 10 o'clock, and I'll be back with a Q&A at noon on time this week. So we'll see you all then. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast. Stay clean!
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.